saying that, how do
Yes.
you feel about how two people can commit the same crime
Hmm.
and a GoFundMe is created for each,
Yep.
but the black one is shut down?
Was it shut down?
Yeah,
Yes.
just recently, and it keeps happening.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah,
Last
for
night,
example, what's the guy name?
What, Alex Henry?
That's the last one, but the other one from some years ago. How am I forgetting his name?
I know you're talking
The
about.
hoodie.
Yeah.
The guy with the
Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin.
how they raised money for his murderer, and nothing is said. They just, okay, yeah, he needs it. He needs it. But anytime where we can commit the same exact crime, or not even the
Yep.
same exact crime, it could be something totally different, and they'll shut ours down.
Well, I think you know the reason why. I mean, it's pretty obvious, don't you
Oh,
think?
but like, how about the other one that's recent though, right? Where that lady called like
Yes,
the black kid the N word,
that's correct.
and her GoFundMe got up to over $600,000 and was still growing.
It's even more than that. I think it's
It's
almost.
it's more than that, but
It's even more than. I think it's a
but-
million now. Almost.
yeah. So, but it's still going. But you shut down somebody. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's a difference in generality.
So I don't want to speak. So the difficulty here is that I don't want what I'm about to say to sound like this is my opinion, but this is what I have heard. And what I have heard is that the difference is that a lot of folks feel like this case in Texas, where this gentleman was stabbed in the tent by this young African American or black guy, as we say. And the issue with that was we don't know all the facts of the case yet. So what I would say in that case is that much like Jesse Smollett, when that came out and he said that somebody put a noose around his neck and stuff like that, I'm always the first thing that I do, and everybody will, because people know I'm very politically like motivated. I like politics. I like talking about. I like debating things. The first things people did as soon as Jesse Smollett come out, they were like, "What's your opinion on this case?" And I said, "I don't have one," because I think one of the problems with America is we always jump to conclusions without knowing all the facts. Now, in that case, it turned out that he was a big piece of shit hoaxer. But what happened in this Texas case, I want to be clear to say I don't know the facts, so I'm not going to speak to that. I think that the undercurrent is that folks think that he just attacked a white guy. That's the underlying theme. Whether that's right or not, we'll find out as the case goes on. We need to figure that out first. I do think that there is inherent bias in our system. I've always believed that. I still think that to this day. I may be on the right-wing side of things, but I also tend to agree that we can't ignore the human experience. People have different experiences. It's important to bring those experiences when you're having conversations. I can't speak to your experience. You can't speak to mine. But I do think that there is an inherent bias in our culture. You could call it racism. You call it what you want against black people. I think that that's undeniable. Anyone making the claim opposite, I think, is full of it. But that's what I've seen. So I do think that in those instances, we see that shut down. Now, for this woman who has almost $1 million, I think what you're seeing is that a lot of folks are tired of race in general. So what they're doing is they're making a statement. In both cases, I think, to a reasonable aspect, because if you looked at the comments under this gentleman's post that he made, or for this GoFundMe, or what is it? It's not GoFundMe. It's something. I don't remember what it's called. But the way in which they raised the money on this, SendFundGo or whatever it's called, the comments underneath were very racist towards the white kid who was killed in this situation. So too, when you looked at this woman's the GoFundMe type apparatus, it's the same thing. It's just what we're seeing right now is a racial division in America. It's continuing to separate us. And I just think there's no way around it. So what you've seen is a reverberation from some white folks that are just like, oh, I'm just going to donate to, I don't agree with anything she said, but I'm going to donate to this campaign just to stick it to black people. I think that there is a swath of that in the United States right now.
But don't you think that the division has always been there, but just now because of social media is just more out in the forefront?
I guess. I mean, I don't know, because it depends on who you talk to. Some people I talk to are just like, I've never seen, Hassan and I have had this conversation. I don't know that I've seen racism in my lifetime, and I found that surprising. I guess, yes, you're right to say that social media has connected the racists, with the essay abusers with the essay abusers, and it's created their own enclaves where you can have different people who have sometimes disgusting opinions, creating a little network. I mean, I do think that that's inherent in social media in and of itself. I don't know if that answers your question, but I do think at a base level, does that exist in the United States? Yes. Is it going to continue to exist here? Absolutely. Can we eradicate it? No. It's never going away. I'm going to tell you right now. There is nothing you can do about racism. It will always exist here. Always. It's built into our country. It's been here since the beginning. It'll be here at the end. Guaranteed.
You know, saying that, I've heard, and Paul, you probably heard this, where racism probably stems from is like on the last episode when we talked about black athletes.
Mhm.
I hear a lot of times why are they so much better at this? You know, and we are, but I also know that we're not the best at everything.
Right.
You know, so from what I've heard from different people is that they believe, why are black people so good at this? Why? You know, it's just like before when there were just all white baseball teams, basketball teams,
Mhm.
football teams. The moment we stepped into that arena, we kind of
We take it over.
everything.
Yeah.
And they say that's where some of the racism probably comes in. That's where it was probably originated from. And not only that, if you go back to even, you know, the myth that all black men are well endowed,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? That also, you know, it comes from a bunch of different places, because how can you just not like an entire race?
Look at it like this, right? So, because we're on this racism part, has everyone ever seen a baby, like a newborn baby? When you look at, if, let's say, a black person holds a white baby, nothing happens, right? He gravitates to that person because like they go off of like your soul, your heart, right? White person holds a black baby, same exact thing. But as they grow up, if that child is that of a racist house,
Because racism is taught.
racism is taught.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why you talk about racism in this country, the reason why it will always be here is because you have people that are racist that are still teaching racism. So for racism to be truly eradicated in this country, you got to have like-minded people, which is few and far between, because the only way racism, like if you're in a generation of people that's still teaching racism, it's going to continue to live and thrive on. But you got to somehow, some way, eventually, that has to be eradicated. That part has to be eradicated because racism is a taught thing.
Not only that, you also have to take into account where a particular race or a person from a particular race has done something
Mhm.
to someone. And now that person just say, oh, I hate black people just
Yeah.
because of that one thing, or I hate white people because of that one thing.
Right,
And it also stems from there.
right.
It's just like the story with Eminem. Like they released a song not too long ago. The background on it is
Mhm.
he was dating a black girl, and she broke his heart.
Yeah.
So then he made a whole racist song about her. You know, but is he racist?
Mm,
You see?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That's what you're saying.
And also, I'll also tell people a lot that, you know, out of all the races, especially here,
Mhm.
why aren't all black people racist? Because of what was done to us. Shouldn't we hate white people? All of us. I'm talking about every single black person.
Mm.
But we're not. Some people say we're too forgiving.
Have you ever heard forgive but don't forget?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. You forgive, but you don't forget. You don't forget what was done to you. You don't forget what's being done to you. And you don't forget what is happening to you.
Mm.
Because once you turn your eye to it, or you just act like it doesn't exist, then that's when you could let down your guard and something bad can happen to you. You see what I'm saying? Because, like, trust me, like, I can tell you that when I travel, my family like, hey, be careful, mind your P's and Q's, X, Y, and Z. Why? Because, like, when I say that I have been, like, people can look at my license plate. Cops, I literally had a cop pull up behind me and trail me to why, because of my license plate. Because it's a custom plate. That happened, like, literally. Like, I went to a pilot meet a couple weeks ago. I went through, like, a country town, which I know is probably predominantly white. This cop trailed me for like 15 miles, and I was driving the speed limit. And like I seen what I seen what he did. He literally sped up to read my plate, tailed me to see what I was going to do. And when he seen that I was driving under the speed limit, he dropped his speed and did a U in the road and went back the other way.
You see, a lot of that I really can't speak on because I talked to you about it, Rob. I've
Yep.
never firsthand witnessed
Yeah,
racism.
yeah.
Like I've never, like directed at me. I've never witnessed it.
Yeah. The hardest thing that I've ever experienced was I was deployed. We was in California. I was deployed, and my wife put a video on Facebook because she was traumatized. My daughter was in the back seat of a van. White guy called her up the N-word. Do you know I had to literally find a way to call my daughter to let her know that everything was all right, and I was deployed? I'm in the military fighting for this country, and that's what y'all do.
Was it a cop or just
No, this was a white civilian.
Okay.
Wife ain't never experienced that. My daughter ain't never experienced that. That was hard.
Yeah.
Because I was not there. They ain't have to deal with that. And that was in Cali. And then to piggyback, and so I've experienced it from both sides.
All right, the next one.
All right.
Do you have any real black friends or just coworkers and acquaintances?
Look at the podcast. I guess. I don't know what to tell you. I do think it's cringe when white people say, "Well, I have black friends," like because you know that they're about to say something really racist right
Yep.
after that comment.
Mhm.
Right?
Yep.
That always makes me laugh. I just have the friends that I have. I don't really care.
Right.
I mean, if I had all white friends, then I have all white friends. It's just I don't have a ledger that I keep in my house where I'm just like, I need an Asian person to be my friend today. I don't do that. Like to me, friendships are organic, and if you can't make a friendship organically, I'm not interested anyway. You see this concept. This is outside of race, but you see this concept at work frequently, which is called FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you need to get in front of the boss so that they know what your face looks like. So I've never done that. I don't care whether you know me or not. What's important to me is whether or not we have a real connection or not. I'm not going to just seek you out because I need to get my next promotion. I'm never going to do that. So too will I never seek anyone out because you meet some sort of quota for me for a friend. I'm just not going to do that. So I don't need to surround myself with a whole bunch of black people to prove anything. And that is a big problem, I think, if I may, in the white community, is that we think we need to showcase something. Well, I need to show you that I'm not racist. No, you don't need to showcase that. You need to just not be a racist, right? You don't need to pontificate about it. That's Logan's favorite word. Or you don't need to do things like that. You just need to live your, as people will say, I think that's cringe too, live your truth. But it's true. You need to live the way that you think that you should live, and you should not be considered with what appearances look like. I don't care. I don't care what you think about me. I don't care what you assume about me based on how I act or whether I have a giant nose or whether I talk to you while we're in the bathroom holding our junk. I'm not going to do that kind of thing. And I think that's important to just be a well-rounded person and not have social expectations, if that answers your question.
But, I can kind of see why they would try to change the appearance and get some more black friends or let it be known or be seen that they have more black friends, because the show is about stereotypes.
Right.
And one of the white stereotypes in black households is that all white people are racist. So you have to also understand that particular person who does those types of things maybe, okay, I need to prove it. I need to prove that I'm not. So I can kind of see why they would.
I've never felt the need to prove myself. I don't really care. If someone thinks I'm a racist just because I exist, that's their problem. I don't care. I really don't.
Shit,
You say whatever you want about me.
I have more white friends than black friends. So,
Well,
hold on, let me show you now.
I don't.
Logan.
Yeah.
Logan.